Hey everybody, welcome back to the Saltworks podcast. I'm your host, Hallie Dye. I'm so excited you're here today. It's the first episode of the new year. It's officially 2026. That still sounds weird. We still want to write 2025. We're all in this together. I hope you and your family had a great holiday and everyone's well and back into the swing of things. Regardless of where you are, we have a great episode. If you're watching, no, I'm not in the studio recording the intro because we forgot to on the day we recorded today's episode before the holidays, but don't worry, everything else will be back in the studio after the intro, and your favorite co-host, Lindsay Stagg, will be on with us. We have a great guest today. Her name is Nicole Gregory. If you don't know her, you're going to love her. Not only is her story powerful, but she is just so much fun and an open book. She just keeps things so real. It is so refreshing just hearing her talk about things and going into the hard things and just being totally authentic and vulnerable. And I think it's really going to be a great way to start this new year together. And the thing that sticks out to me the most in Nicole's story that honestly we all have the tendency to do in our own story is when we have hardship or heartbreak or just struggle, our tendency is to put up walls of self-preservation and self-protection, and how that really can lead into self-sufficiency and wanting things to be in our own control, and how really that impacts overall not only just relationships but our walk with the Lord. And so I cannot wait for you to hear her story. I know it spoke to me. I think it's going to speak to us all. And so without further ado, here's my conversation with Nicole. Well, Nicole, welcome to the Saltworks podcast. We're so excited you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we could sit in here and chit chat all day without getting started.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about parenting and pregnancy with Lindsay and all the things, but we also really want to hear your story. So we're excited about that. Thanks for coming. Yeah. We always start with, who is Nicole Gregory? So if someone were to ask or not know you or know everything about you, what would you say?
It's so funny because I'm thinking I probably should have polled all the people in my life before I came here, because what I say is probably very different from what they say.
That's okay. They might not be right.
They're definitely not right. But I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl who loves Jesus. A woman, an old lady. I don't know. I feel like I don't know which phase of life I'm in. I'm just kind of traveling through. I am a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I have 19-year-old twins, Bo and Lydia, and I am a wife to Jonathan. We've been married for it'll be 27 years in May. So that's pretty cool to be able to be getting up to that kind of a milestone.
Yeah.
Teach a life group at North Monroe Baptist Church, which you all are
well
aware of.
Yes, we're in it.
Have been a member there for since 2002, so 23 years.
Wow.
This month we joined in December.
Wow.
And have taught life groups and worked at the church and been on multiple committees. And
I know, I was reading through your when I was reading through your notes and prepping for the episode, I'm like, what class have y'all not taught?
I know. I feel like this is round 2 for us.
Yeah.
Our current life group.
Yeah.
Well, I don't teach in children's, and I told Kenneth Clark, our children's minister, I was like, I'll do anything in the children's ministry as long as it doesn't involve children. I am your administrative girl, So kids scare me. That's what I tell everybody.
That's hilarious.
They're like, oh, my baby. I'm like, no, babies are so scared. I'm scared of babies.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's not that I don't think they're cute and wonderful and amazing, but I'm just I'm not a baby person.
Yeah.
And that's
that's fair.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And I think it's good that you know that and don't feel bad about it.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm just when that baby is 5 or 6, I will have such a conversation with them, and, but I don't want to be involved with them at church because I feel like I'm pretty strict on things, and I don't feel like I can be like that with other people's kids, And so I guess it's best if I just
we might need that then.
It's best if I just take care of the role at VBS,
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
So just done a lot of things at North Monroe over the years, and as a career, I've been in human resources since 1997, which is insane.
Yeah, but it's changed a lot.
It's changed so much. Yeah, all the laws continues to just change. And
I can only imagine.
Yeah. But the cool thing is like God led me down a path where now I'm getting to do it in a ministry setting.
Yeah.
And so it's just how God works, It's like, let me take this very corporate thing and give it to you in a way that you can just absolutely love every minute of it and feel like you're, like I'm getting to serve the Big C church, doing what I do and pour into other churches like all over the country.
Right.
And ministries. So it's just cool.
Yeah.
Just
so neat.
Yeah.
That is very cool. You did not grow up here. It's a big part of your story. She's already laughing. Strong foreshadowing there. But where did you grow up? And then tell us about your parents, because it's a fun fact, like about your mom. I feel like everyone's like, what? I didn't know that. So
yeah. So I grew up in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And I'm now in Monroe, Louisiana. So I was actually born in Michigan. My dad was in the military. And so I was born in Michigan. And then when I was a toddler, we lived in England for a couple of years. And then we actually lived in Shreveport for a very short period when I was a toddler as well. And then in kindergarten, I moved to Fort Walton. And so we stayed there for the rest of my through high school.
Yeah.
My mom was British. She was from England. And so she lived here like since I was born. And so she had this like half Southern, half British, like at one point when my twins were young, they had a sitter. We called her Nanny. She came and took care of the kids when I went back to work part-time. And she's very country. And she would be like, I picked a whole mess of potatoes or something like that. My mom's like, pardon?
How many is a mess? Yeah.
She's like, pardon. And so she had this weird juxtaposition of not an accent, but sometimes an accent.
Okay, this is weird, but someone was trying to make a case. This was on like social media, so I have no idea if this person is talking about it or not. But someone was trying to make a case that a Southern accent is really a British accent slowed down. And like they did this whole video and like it was really interesting. I'm not quite sold, but there you have it.
I have to test that.
Yeah.
I'll go find that video or something. So
That's funny.
I know that if you don't slow it down, it's very different. It can cause a lot of communication problems. So she was British from England, and then my dad was born and raised in Michigan. So he's a Yankee. Hopefully that's not offensive, but so people are like, why don't you fit in the South? I'm like,
well,
they're like, why don't you know how to cook? I'm like, a Yankee and a Brit, like they're not really known for their food, And so it's like, I get it, honest, my inability to cook.
So did y'all grow up in church? Like, what did that look like for y'all in Florida?
Yeah, so I did. I grew up in church. My mom, she accepted Jesus when she was, like, I was a toddler. I don't think she was pregnant with me. It was very shortly after. And so she was a baby Christian as a young mom. Yeah. And just on fire for the Lord as a young mom. And my dad came to know the Lord when I was in middle school. He came to church all these years and people prayed for him all these years, but he didn't really cross the thresholds to acceptance until I was probably, I think, in 8th grade. Yeah. And I think that just takes on a different, it's just different in a house where you haven't like my parents didn't go to church out of habit, not to discount people who have been going to church their whole lives.
Right. Yes.
That's their story.
You can still be doing that and not be like a rote practice, but there is like a fresh intentionality. If I had to go out and choose this. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that you said fresh and intentional, like that's what it very much was, you know, and that the Bible stories were coming to life for my mom as an adult, as they were coming to life for me as a child. Yeah. And my mom and dad were both super involved in the church that I grew up in, VBS director and financial secretary. It was a really small church. So everybody, lay people did all of the things at the church. You know, my dad served in every capacity known up there as well. And so we went to church, and Jesus was a big part of my growing up. You know, as a good girl, I did all the things and obeyed all the rules, and made my parents really, really proud. And so it was a great way to grow up. And like, my parents loved me. Like, they didn't have money. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have, you know, I didn't have all the name brand things, and we didn't travel a lot, but like, we had fun. We laughed. And my dad was like another kid that ran around in the neighborhood with all of us kids, you know. He, like, I remember one year he broke his foot because he was playing basketball with the kids in the neighborhood, you know.
That's funny.
His foot. And we would, this is crazy, but my dad and I would like play hide and go seek in my house. And you know, he was just like, my mom would be like, I have, you know, have these two kids at home. So yeah, it was just a loving household. And as far as I knew, my parents really loved each other and had a great marriage. Like, I never saw bad things there. But then my senior year in high school, my dad being in the military, he was scheduled, he had to go do an overseas assignment, and he ended up in Iceland. And I don't know, something just happened in that separation. And he just decided he just didn't want to come home to my mom and me. And and so I don't know if I don't think it was me or my mom. I think it was maybe lifestyle. You know? So I don't know. I don't want to go into that too much. But our family was then fractured at that point, you know, as a senior in high school. That happened kind of right at the end of my senior year.
I think too, like, I mean, we've had a lot of people talk on the Saltworks about, you know, that moment of going through divorce, like at whatever age, like as an adult, as, you know, when they were kids. And it's just a big change for everyone. Like, that's just very impactful. But I think too, like, a lot of times the story is like, there was turmoil, there was arguing. And I think sometimes, like, there can be this, I don't want to say it's worse than any other situation, but it's at the same time, like, there's a level of like shock that you just didn't, you know, see it coming. And so I know that a lot of people can relate to that. What narrative did that begin for you? Like, when that shock happened, you know, how did you deal with that, and what did you kind of file away?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I was really mad at God. You know, it's amazing. Like, through it though, I got to see my mom. Her faith never wavered. Never. Not one time. She didn't get mad at God. Not to me anyway. I never saw that. She didn't quit going to church. And so I was able to see her with her faith staying just rock solid. Mine wavered. And you know, you've read my story, you know my story. Like, that's when I started putting bricks on the wall. And I started putting myself on the other side where people couldn't hurt me. I was like, okay, I don't want to feel like this. And so I just have to quit feeling things. And so I'm going to start just building this wall around myself and around my heart. But it manifested itself in my mom was trying to take care of herself emotionally. And my dad was the disciplinarian when I was growing up, and he was gone at that point. And so, like, I could stay out later. I didn't have a curfew anymore. And again, my mom was kind of grieving her loss. And so she wasn't staying on top of me to be like, don't go out or whatever. And so I did. I started partying my senior year in high school, and kind of walking away from that good godly girl lifestyle. And I took that to college with me.
Was there any level of like, I did all these things and it didn't help, and so I'm not going to try to do all the right things anymore? Like, was there any level of that for you?
Probably self-consciously there was. I don't know if I really thought about it until you just said it, but I'm sure it was like, well, but I did all the right things, and this bad thing still happened to me. So I probably did. Great. Now I have something else to process in counseling, Hallie. Thanks a lot.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, appreciate that. Okay.
That's hilarious. Now I'm lost. So would you
You're going to derail me. I'm going to derail you.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. So like, would you call that wall, because it's going to come up quite a few more times, like, would you call that wall like self-protection, self-sufficiency, all the above?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it began as self-protection.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, I don't want to feel like this again, so I don't want to get hurt, so I'm going to start putting these bricks up there. But it became self-sufficiency.
Right.
And it became...
Because you can't trust anybody.
Yeah. Fierce independence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I still struggle with it today,
Mm-hmm.
being super independent and not allowing my husband to do stuff for me or anybody to do stuff for me.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
I can't relate. Yeah.
Not a clue.
What's that?
I said, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I can relate to that.
Best listened with heavy sarcasm. Yeah. So, okay. So this is where you're at. And then it comes time, like, it's time to go to college. Like, what did that decision look like? Because I know one of the things you mentioned in your notes is, like, your mom's grieving and feeling like now you have this new responsibility of, I'm totally in charge of myself, protection-wise, sufficiency, all these things. And what do I do about college? So what did that look like? And what did it look like when you got there?
Yeah. And I felt like not only was I protecting myself, but I had to protect my mom too, because I hurt so badly for her, because she stayed so strong and she was just still so faithful. And I just thought, I gotta protect her also. And it was right at the time when I was supposed to be going off to college. And so I actually stayed behind after my senior year, and I went to community college for a year. Before moving off to college. So all my friends went off to school and I stayed at home with my mom and went to, and that was nothing that she imposed upon me or anything. That was all just in my heart, what I thought I needed to do. And so, stayed. And then I felt a little more ready when I did finally go off to school, but it still was an internal struggle for me, trying to figure out, is this the right thing and at the right time?
Yeah.
But I still wasn't living. I think I was still going to church, but I mean, it was very much just going through the motions.
Yeah. I want to say too, just for people listening, and I'm not trying to derail you or add to things, but I think too, like, I have had friends who, even when their childhood was great, like, because they were able to please their parents, like, there can be a level of responsibility even when everything's great, because, like, I'm my parents' happiness. And so, like, when parents are unhappy, it's like, I have to fix it. Like, that's the cause and effect. You know what I mean? And it's like, I could see that, like, in your story, like, not that they ever made you feel, but like, when like, okay, like, we're happy, I'm checking these things, like, everything's good, and then things are not good, it's very easy to pick up this responsibility that they didn't ask you to, wouldn't wish you to, but we do, we do that. And like, I can relate to that just as a people pleaser, not necessarily parents, but just,
You're bringing up these things I didn't think about. How?
That's what we do here. It's terrible, but it's also great.
No, that is good. That's so, like, thought-provoking. Go home and ponder that.
All right. Thank y'all for coming to the Saltworks. We'll see you next week.
Like, what is this supposed to be about here?
We're actually not recording. This is an intervention.
It's Jonathan on the other side of the wall.
He is. Yes. Come on in. That's hilarious. Okay. I'm sorry. That was not necessarily for you, but you can receive that.
For this. This is so good.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. Okay. But you end up going off, and where did you go? Because that's a big part of your story.
It's a big part of my story.
Yeah.
I ended up at the University of Florida in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Yes. And I actually grew up in Fort Walton. And so I had to pass through Tallahassee, where Florida State University is, to get to the
It's a rough
University of
time.
Florida. So yeah, I mean, it was like I made a deliberate choice to go 7 hours away instead of 2 from my home. So, and I don't really, obviously it's God, but I don't even know why I chose the University of Florida. Florida State was so much closer. And growing up, I really didn't have an allegiance to one school or another. I was the first to go to college. So it wasn't like I was following in a parent's footsteps.
That's so funny because you've been such a huge fan for as long as I've known you. So I'm like, I can't imagine a Nicole that's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. You identify me as like all Gators, all in. Yes.
Not as your identity, but as something that's characteristic.
A big part of you. Yeah. So I went off to the University of Florida. I lived with high school friends in an apartment my first year. I rushed, joined the Greek system, and really found so many great friends, but friends that didn't really follow or know Jesus.
Yeah.
I probably looking back, I'm sure there were Christian girls in my sorority, but because I wasn't living a Christian life, like I never uncovered that. I don't even, like to this day, I don't know. Maybe they weren't walking their faith walk. I wasn't walking mine. And so it never was revealed. And I'm sad about that. I'm sad that I didn't know that. And I'm sad that as I'm watching my 2 children in college now in their freshman years, and they're both in the Greek system, and just being like, man, you can make such a difference for Jesus if you just wear it all over your being at all times. Yeah. And I really regret that. That was a huge missed opportunity, even though I have my story and it's God can and will use all of it. Like I think about that. I'm like, man, how many people could I have affected for the kingdom?
Yeah.
That's wild. I feel like you said something along those lines in your notes, and I was like, that's very profound. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone put it that way when they look back on their story of like the missed opportunities of leading others. Like there's plenty of, there's plenty of parts of our stories where we say, I wish I would have, because then I wouldn't have made this choice. But like to look past our hardships and be like, there were other people I could have reached, which is so profound, and also just like shows a picture of your heart, I feel like. And I also want to say, like, because you have that mindset, I do think that the Lord has used that in your life now in some ways. Like other people in your stage of life don't view the world, like you look back and think I could have done so much more, and so you do it. And like I think sometimes when we don't have those regrets, like we don't live with that zeal, in other seasons. And so I do think like while you feel like that was wasted, the Lord is still using that, Yeah.
Well, also because I'm just thinking like you just said, like, because that is a thought process that you've had about your testimony and your story in college, like what a gift that is to be able, and it's not your responsibility whether your kids do that or not, but to be able to communicate that to them openly and to be able to say like, hey, this was where I was, and like I can look back and see, and I think that's so influential in their lives. I mean, if nothing else, like to be able to hear that from their mom, whether they choose whatever path they choose, still like that's a big deal. And so I feel like that's very much a way that God can still use even that,
That's true. Good point, girls.
Yes.
We tear you down, then we build you up.
So much. It is so true. Like I think about all those sorority girls and all those things I did, like because I was so engaged in my sorority, and I was this sounds terrible. Like wasn't like the life of the party, but I was all in on all the things, and I'm like, what if I had been all in for Jesus for all the things? Like, wow, I could have lit a fire. And I didn't.
But I think it's gracious of the Lord, just that reminder that like at the end of the day, we're not in control of anything, and like the Lord can use whatever he wants to. So like, even though that feels like missed, and like in some ways, yeah, sure, missed opportunities, he's still using it. Like he's still using that like in your kids' lives and where they're at right now. And so like, I don't know, I just think that's when I think about stuff like that, because we all can look back and think, well, man, why didn't I do this, or why wasn't I? But like the Lord's going to he'll use it however he sees fit, which I think is so gracious.
Well, and like, I don't view your story as a Saul to Paul by any means, but like I look at him and how like when you look at his story and when we talk about his story, we often talk about like God took someone who is zealous for these things because he was going to use that same energy towards the kingdom. And like even when Paul's telling his story, and I can't remember which book it is now, but there's a part where he's like, they didn't know this and they didn't know that. All they knew was he who was persecuting the church is now spreading the good news of Jesus Christ, and they praise God because of me. And it's like, that is like, the Lord does not waste any of that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. We'll lay that to rest, but
Okay, good. I feel so much better about myself. I really thank you so much.
Okay, so following this, you started dating. So tell us about that whole situation. Take us through that timeline.
Yeah, this is like a humiliating part of my story. It really is.
I understand why you say that, but like, how do I say this without sounding weird? I feel like these are the parts of the Salt Works that I have grown to love because it makes people go, I have served with Nicole for 5 years and I didn't know this. And like, it just, it teaches us to get to know people deeper. And so like, I know that sounds odd.
No,
because I don't like love what happened for you, but like, I do love the way it makes us get to know people better and ask more intentional questions and understand why they do things the way they do. So,
yeah. And I didn't tell people this for a long time because I got to move here and nobody knew this about me. And so I didn't have to tell anybody about it. And I was like, I'm just not going to tell anybody.
Yeah.
But I realize now that it is part of my story. And so I started dating a guy in college and he was a Mormon. But because I wasn't living for the Lord, he wasn't walking his faith walk. I wasn't walking my faith walk. And so it didn't matter. And we had fun. And so we got married. And my poor mom, oh goodness. That's a whole nother part of the story, is just that like this whole time, my mom knew that I was not living for the Lord, and she never made it hard to come home. Her arms were always open wide. But she also was very firm, and I knew she was still praying for me, you know, and that has impacted me greatly as a mom today.
Yeah.
Just to know, like, she was always a safe space. But I think about when I married this guy who she knew was a Mormon, and like how it broke her heart, you know, but it also kept her on her knees.
Yeah.
So anyway, but shortly after we got married, I graduated and from college, and and the Holy Spirit just really started convicting me. I was kind of away from sorority life and trying to have like my first job, you know, after college, and God was drawing me back and nudging. And once that fire was lit, I was like, I think we're unequally yoked. You know, I don't think this is going to work. And we really tried to make it work. Because divorce was like something I didn't want, and I didn't think was godly, and that I was going to be damaged, and that he would punish me for such a terrible decision that I made. So I tried to hang in there, maybe for the right reasons, maybe for the wrong reasons. I don't know, but it ended in divorce. Within 2 years we were divorced, and
What did it look like for you? Like, grieving that, looking for, I know like somewhere after this you're getting involved in church, and so like what did that look like for you walking with the Lord in that? If like, you know, you're struggling through those feelings of like, am I damaged? Like, is this, I'm sure, like, I know sometimes I can look back at parts of my story and be like, was this punishment because I walked this way or whatever? I mean, how did you grapple with that?
Yeah, that's good. Grappling. That's a great word to describe it. The church, I started attending a church really regularly in Gainesville. And there was a pastor there. I don't even remember what he was on staff there, but he met with me weekly and just counseled with me. And looking back, I see now where he was like really trying hard to get me to quit beating myself up and accept God's grace and forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I needed, I guess I was punishing myself because God wasn't punishing me.
Yeah.
But I felt like I needed to be punished.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
well, when it's self-sufficiency, it's like I'm in charge of if I get to get grace or not, you know, and like he's so much kinder than we are, you know.
Yeah, so true. But I don't know, somehow it just kind of worked through. I was living on my own at that point. I had started my career after I graduated from the University of Florida. I started working at the University of Florida. That was my first job in human resources. And so I was like, okay, I'm living on my own and I have a job, I get a paycheck, and got involved in a church there in Gainesville and started attending, and then finally decided like, okay, it's safe to go to the singles group. Like I was just going to church, you know?
Was it because like you were just scared to like did you have a mindset of like, I'm not looking for dating? That's not even on my radar. Or like, what did that look like for you?
That's a great question. I'm not even sure I know why I didn't. I think maybe because I'd been out of church for so long.
Yeah.
Like just going to big church was like the first step. You know, I wasn't maybe ready to connect to a small group. And maybe I'd been away for so long, like I didn't really even know what that looked like as an adult.
Yeah.
But I gave it a whirl.
Yeah.
And the first day that I was there, Jonathan, her husband, now walked in, you know? And he, of course he has his side of it, but we were both kind of like, oh my gosh, look at that person, you know? And then it just snowballed. It was just some funny, crazy things that led us to hanging out together. Like I can unpack those, but like my car broke down and I needed a ride to church, and someone was like, oh, Jonathan lives in the apartment complex right next to you. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And so I called him for a ride.
This was completely accidental.
Yeah. And so I got a ride to church, and then he was like, oh, I have a meeting in Fort Walton Beach in a month or so. And I like literally we had just met, and I was like, can I get a ride? Like a 7-hour ride, because my car wasn't dependable enough, you know? And he was like, sure.
Did he do any of the talking on that drive? There's no way.
Yeah. It's still kind of the thing, right? You know, you guys know. You're with me every week.
I love it. No. So how long was it till y'all started dating? And then
we started dating right away.
Really?
Yeah, because I called him. I was like, can I get a ride to church? He's like, sure. He's like, and would you like to go out to dinner tonight?
Yeah. Convenient.
Yeah, I was like, okay. You know, and I wasn't looking, and I didn't want to jump back in, and I was still punishing myself and all the things, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he loves Jesus.
That's hilarious. Okay, so y'all get married. Y'all dated what? How long?
2 years.
2 years.
Well, yeah, from the time we started dating till we got married, it was 2 years.
Yeah. And then how long did y'all stay there?
So let me tell one thing about the where we got married thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. This is important.
This is key to the rest of the story.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
This was the foreshadowing.
Yes, this is the key to the rest of the story. So living in Gainesville, like my family lived everywhere. My mom was still in Fort Walton. My dad had moved to Colorado, family in England, family in Michigan. So when we were talking about the wedding, and his family was all still in Northeast Louisiana, and he has his own story about how he got to Gainesville. But so he was a transplant in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Everybody was in Northeast Louisiana. And so it was like, it just made sense logistically to get married in Monroe. And so I was like, I will marry you there, but I will never, ever live there, because that place is a dump and people there are not very smart. Because they talk funny, you know? And so, okay, duly noted, you know?
Yeah.
God's like, I see where I can do a little testing here. So we got married at the Louisiana Baptist Children's Home in Monroe.
Yeah.
And then we went back to our little home in Gainesville, lived in our little apartment there. And then we hadn't even been married, I don't think, a year. Maybe just a year. No, it was less than a year. And his job moved us to West Palm Beach, Florida. So getting even deeper, poor Jonathan, getting even deeper into Florida culture. Leaving the panhandle of Florida, like the further south you go, it gets less Bible Belt, more, non-Bible Belt.
Yeah.
For lack of a better description.
Yeah.
So then we landed in West Palm Beach.
Yeah. And ended up making like good friendships there, right? And okay, so tell us about the 5-year plan, because that's also like, we need to introduce that for the rest of the story. And that is so Nicole. I don't know if I have a 5-week plan. Do you?
Why do you think it's a Nicole thing? It's
because in life group, she was like, what goals have y'all planned? And we were all just like blinking at each other. Do you have a... Well, after church, I think we might go eat chips and queso. Like, I don't know. It's a goal.
Yeah, like, come on, guys. Goals. Come on. I know. You're chasing little ones around. Goals are like a pipe dream.
Yes. I just want to read a chapter today. When they go to bed. Yeah.
When we first got married, it was like, we're on the 5-year plan. We're not going to have kids. We're going to have kids at, our 5th year of marriage. And, that's how it's all going to work out. Just like we're never going to live in Monroe. We're just going to have kids at the 5-year mark, and that's going to be perfect. Yeah. So I had it all planned out. Don't worry.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And it all went just like planned, right?
Like, here's where it goes. And the record scratches on the record player.
But y'all had this great community. Then his job changed, and you had a job you loved there too, right?
I did.
Like that was a big part of like what you felt like was your identity at the time. Is that right? Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, that's so true. So we were in South Florida. We were in a young marrieds class, and when you live in South Florida, people aren't from South Florida.
Yeah,
they're transplants, and so we were far away, from our families. And so those couples became our families. And that's how small groups should work in church. Right. And so the church was working like it was supposed to down there. And we just, those friends became our family, and they were having kids and having lots of kids. And again, I was like, oh, it's such a cute baby.
That's great for y'all.
Yeah. Happy for you. Here's some diapers. Like, can't babysit. Can't really bring you food because I don't cook. I don't know. Like, I'll come visit. I'll paint your toenails. I don't know. And so it's just, but that's great. Like, they accepted us for that, And so, so that was just like our little community. It was happy little life. I had a job that I loved. I got to travel, which I'm terrified of flying still to this day. But we were living in West Palm, and the headquarters for the bank I worked for was in Seattle. And so I was traveling a lot. And then it was a bank, so we did acquisitions. So we acquired a bank in Manhattan. I got to go to Manhattan. I was on the West Coast a lot because we had a big presence over there. And so I was like kind of living a life, loving my job. I really identified with that's who I am. I'm this wife, and I'm this business person that gets to travel and do super fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I live in South Florida.
Yeah.
This is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It was.
It was.
Really?
And it was while it lasted. So Jonathan's job, he got transferred, right? So how did that come about?
Yeah, let me tell you about that.
Yeah.
So we knew that his company was going through an acquisition, and there were going to be lots of shakeups, and he actually had to re-interview for his job. And so he went through the interview, and so we kind of knew changes were probably coming. And he called me at work one day, and he was like, "Oh, I got an offer letter." And I was like, "Awesome." And I go home and I look at the offer letter, and it says location, Louisiana. And I was like, blink, 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 like, am I looking at this right? This can't be. You can't take this offer. And at that point, it was kind of interpreted as Louisiana, and I was like, okay, we're going to move to Baton Rouge, because I didn't know how much I hated LSU until I was going to
say, you must really hate Monroe if you were.
I really, for real, I was like, at least Baton Rouge is a college town.
Yeah.
I love college towns. Like, I could work for LSU. I worked for the University of Florida, and so I was like on the Baton Rouge train, and then it came out that no, it's Northeast Louisiana. They clarified it, and so I blamed him for that. Because as an HR person, I'm like, they should have put that in the letter. That should have been more, defined, and you should have asked more questions. And so he became the bad guy in all of this. And I was like, this is your plan all along. You should have told them you didn't want to move back to Northeast Louisiana. And I was like, oh, there go some more bricks on the wall that had been, kind of been dormant. But I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay, I see what you did. You did not protect me from this thing that I did not want.
Yeah.
And so the battle line was drawn.
Yeah.
And I had to quit my job. I had to quit wearing open-toed shoes year round.
Yeah.
I had to,
leave all your friends.
Leave all my friends. Live in a state where I never wanted to live, in a city where I never wanted to live. And we didn't even move to Monroe. Like, we moved to Sterlington. And at that time, like, there was no Sonic. There was nothing in Sterlington. It was wide open spaces.
Yeah.
And it was hunting season. So I got to experience that.
Yeah.
And it was cold, and it was just,
it
was just so many things.
Yeah.
I was miserable. In fact, Bill Dye, like the first or second Sunday I was at church, he came up to me, he was like, are you okay? Like, I never met him before, but he saw the look on my face, and he was just like, he tells the story. I was like, what is wrong with this poor woman? It's like, well, I'm in Monroe. That's what's wrong.
But, okay, so I'm going to pause because, like, honest to goodness, I don't know that you and I have ever actually gotten to have, like, these kinds of, like, a conversation about, like, the details of, like, our life stories and stuff, but, like, a little bit different, but, like, I relate so much, like, so deeply to your story, like, even up to this point of, like, what you've shared. Cause I mean, like, when Colin and I knew we were going to move, like, that wasn't like but still, like, it's still hard. Like, you're leaving what what you're comfortable with. And, like, it was from North Louisiana to South Louisiana, which, like, doesn't seem like a big deal, but, like, it is.
Yeah.
It's very different. And so just, I don't know, like, I'm just laughing, like, and kind of quiet over here. So I'm like, honestly, like, I relate so much, and personality wise, we're probably pretty similar. Like, I probably would confirm that, of just like, okay, maybe not now, but once upon a time, like, I'd have I had plans, I had things that I was the way things were gonna go, and like the Lord has since lots of things uprooted a lot of that, and so, like, I guess just to stop and say, like, no, I mean, sometimes we can feel silly when we're talking about this stuff, like, in hindsight, but like the reality is, like, we've all, maybe not in the same ways, but like, we've all been there, like, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, like the self-sufficiency, the, the control, this is my plan and this is what it's going to look like. And the Lord's just laughing the whole time. Like, okay, we'll see how that goes. But I can relate just a lot of that to a lot of your story.
Well, and like, not to apply anything to either of y'all's stories, but I do think, like, when you see marriages where one person moved for their job and the other person didn't, like, I think that oftentimes, not every time, that there's a narrative of, like, you chose this over me because this person wanted to be here and felt like all of their happiness was tied to this. And so it's like, you don't really care if I'm happy or protected or seen or whatever, fill in the blank with what that is. I think that can begin that narrative,
Yeah.
And probably so unknowingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, I'm thinking, like, before we got married, like, I knew that would always be the plan. It didn't make leaving hard, like, not hard, because I was leaving my home, like, where I was comfortable with a job that I loved and, like, teaching at the school that I went, just stuff like that. And so, like, would I look back and say, like, that I felt like, oh, like, consciously was like, oh, you didn't care how I felt. No, but like, I'm sure somewhere in there, like, our, like, you don't even realize it. And especially at that point in time in life where you're like 20 something years old and you're like, oh, whatever, this is just what we're doing.
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's probably a lot of like subconscious stuff there that like, you just wouldn't even think.
Yeah, I feel like we're just now identifying this.
For
like,
sure.
As we're sitting here.
Yes.
Like, I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, yeah, he didn't advocate for me.
Right.
Well,
right.
And like, too, like, like, I mean, this is like such a silly example, like, but this like illustration popped in my mind. It's like if Jonathan was like, hey, do you want to go eat like whatever for dinner? And you're like, thinking, not really, but whatever, like you don't say anything and you're thinking, I'll do my best to make the most of it. And then y'all go, and no offense to whatever restaurant it is, like it's just a disaster. Like it's a long wait. The food's not right. It's burned, whatever. Something's wrong with it. And it's like a disaster. And then it's like, I don't want to come here in the first place. You know what I mean? And so it's like sometimes that narrative does not get finished until it's worse than you even thought it was going to be, and it's like all the blame comes back to this was your idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you move. It is worse than you ever thought it would be. It would be. What did it look like for you to begin to find pieces of Nicole, in your words, in your mind at that time, and like get involved in a church? Like, was that begrudgingly? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, it's so good. And again, it's all in hindsight, God's in every detail of it. But we visited North Monroe Baptist like our first Sunday that we lived here, and we didn't visit anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we moved here we closed on our house November 3rd of 2002. In that December of 2002, we joined North Monroe Baptist Church. And I just found the other day photos of a life group party that we went to, Blake and Olivia Shelby's house. They were our life group leaders.
Yes.
And I met people there. I found photos of that first Christmas party.
Yes.
That's cool.
And
threw them away. No, I'm kidding.
I actually kept those.
We were talking about cleaning out before we start recording.
Purge.
I'm just kidding. I know you kept them.
Yeah, I did. I'm actually, my plan is to sneak into their life group room and hang them up.
Absolutely. Like, do it before January 6th because this will be aired.
Okay, let's sneak in there and do that. But yeah, so it was like God was, and we, I mean, I wasn't in a name drop, but I will, because Olivia Shelby, she was like one of the first females I met here, and she's like the sweetest soul ever. And she was like, would I have to go deliver diapers to someone who just had a baby in our class? You can come with me, and meet some people or whatever. And it's like, great. She took me to Farmerville. Like, that was the worst idea ever. And there was like some boutique shop she took me to there. And I was like, these are the clothes that the people around here wear. Like, it was just one little disaster after the other, And we laugh about it to this day. Living and I do. And I'm like, I'm sure Jonathan's
There's nothing wrong with Farmerville. Yeah.
It's just more rural than Monroe.
Yes.
So anyway, we talk about
it's not Florida. It's not Florida. We can't say it's Florida. Yeah.
But that was God putting those people in our lives. So intentional.
Yeah.
And letting us plug into that group right away, even though I was like, I was super wary of the people in that group. And I had, like, probably for the first 6 months, my main focus was, this was before all the, this is before iPhones and stuff. So
right.
But I mean, we had the dial-up internet, and I would be on there every night trying to find him a job somewhere else, anywhere else. That was kind of my fixation, was like exit strategy. We're not staying here long. Yeah. And then I ran across a little book. I wrote this in my notes, and it was called, I don't think it's in circulation anymore. It's called "You're Late Again, Lord: The Impatient Woman's Guide to God's Timing." And I was like, that's me. I'm impatient. And the main premise of that book, the main idea is we are to wait purposefully, not patiently, because patience very reactive and passive, and purposefully is very full of action and pursuing God. And God just got a hold of me with that little bitty book to kind of, whip me into shape and be like, you're not supposed to sit here whining and acting like this is the worst thing that could happen to you. Yeah. Because probably in his mind, he's like, because it's really not going to be the worst thing that happens
to you. Well, you wrote, I finally realized that if God's will was for me to be in Monroe, that anywhere else I lived would be empty, and I would be longing, empty, and unfulfilled, which is so profound, because to be somewhere where you don't want to be and then be like, well, if you have intentionally placed and not left me here as in left, but I've remained here, you know,
Mhm.
under your will, then like to step outside of that is, you know, it's going to be unfulfilled. And so I loved the way you wrote that.
Mhm.
So we've taken a detour in our 5-year plan here.
Yeah.
Still within the years, but
Mhm.
not where we were supposed to be. You did get a job here, right? Were you working part-time at this point?
No, I was working full time. It was really not really it was sort of an HR, it was an HR-ish job.
Yeah.
But it was good because I was working
Yeah.
again.
And then did your mom move here in this
Yep.
season? And that was a sweet thing
Yeah.
for you, getting to be close to her again. And
Yes, it
you
was
know.
awesome. And because I mentioned we had lived in Bossier for like a little bitty time, and she was also, I will never live in that dump of Louisiana again, ever. She had her never moment also with God. So
y'all got to have it together.
yeah, we did. We did. So that was awesome.
That is neat.
Yeah.
So you were approaching the end of your 5-year plan, and the end of the 5-year plan, to remind everybody, was to begin having kids. So were you like ready for that at that point? What did that look like for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was just, God just turns on that maternal button.
Mm-hmm.
Or for me, like, I know
Yeah.
some people are some girls are like born with it. Like all they want to do growing up is be a mommy, and that wasn't the case with me, but like that switch turned on.
I was the same way.
Yeah. And when that switch turns on, like, it's on.
Yeah.
And we came up against the wall of infertility.
Yeah.
And so we walked that path for a couple years, and I know I wrote this in my notes. We haven't gotten to this, but within probably, within like a year and a half of getting to North Monroe, we started teaching in the college ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, looking back, even as I was writing my notes, this dawned on me, like God put us in that college ministry. I feel like because, if you're in a life group with young, your age peers who are all having babies,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking and crushing. And so again, as I was writing these notes this week, like looking back, I'm like, oh, God had us in there with the college students who weren't having babies left and right. And so it's kind of a protection almost for us. But still, we still had friends who were, I had to quit going to baby showers. It just was all so painful. And so we walked that road for about 2 years, and we found a fertility doctor in Shreveport, and lots of money, lots of tears, lots of procedures later.
Yeah.
We got pregnant.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
With not just one, but 2. Yes.
Yes. And so this is a fun fact. You might know this, Hallie. I don't know.
I do.
But so we have twins, and then I have my brother and sister-in-law had twins 9 weeks later. And then 10 months later, my dad and his wife had grandbaby twins. So 3 sets of twins within 10 months. And
That's
so I
wild.
told
That
people,
is
I prayed for a baby.
crazy.
And then
Yeah.
I was like, here you go.
Yeah.
All the family,
Yeah.
All the babies.
Yeah, all the babies. And
You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah. It's a twin thing, So
That's so fun.
So yeah, it did. It turned out like I was just praying for a baby.
Yeah.
And that's just one way God showed, I just always point to that. Even with my kids, I'm like, I prayed for one baby and God gave me both of you. Like I got 2.
Yeah.
I got double the everything. So it was just like God.
So
just
fun.
Like God to do that.
And they're healthy and happy, and you bring home twins. And what did that look like? Did your mom help a lot? Like, what did that look like for you and Jonathan?
Yeah, my mom did help a lot. And it was good. It was good, but it also really started more of a division for me and Jonathan. And I don't know, maybe with all couples it does a little bit because the maternal and the mom and the dad roles are so different. But he just wasn't engaged as I thought he should be. Not saying he wasn't engaged.
Right.
Wasn't engaged because remember, my dad was the one who broke his foot playing basketball with all the neighborhood kids. He was super involved. And so it just looked different from what it looked like for me growing up. And so to me, different was wrong and bad. And bricks on the wall, bricks on the wall, bricks on the wall. I feel like you should be doing X, Y, and Z with these babies. And he wasn't. But I mean, looking back now, I see like I made him into a bad guy because of that, but it wasn't. It was just different.
Yeah.
And so, but it was great. Like I loved every season of raising the twins, and like every season was more fun than the last. And like they have been like such good, godly human beings, and like
they're the best.
Loved you. They really are great kids. And I'm sure everybody thinks that about their kids, but
sometimes
there's moments. But
no, I do.
They just, I don't know. They've just, obviously it's been such a huge blessing, but it really did that. I think that's when, you know, that line was drawn in the sand with Jonathan, and then the line got deeper and the more bricks went on the wall, because he wasn't the father that I had growing up. And so it was wrong, and it was different, and therefore it was wrong.
Yeah. When did you get sick? When the twins were in kindergarten? Is that right? And did you think you just had a bug? Like, what did that look like?
It's hard. It's hard to unpack.
Yeah.
So I woke up, it was October 15th, 2011. Like you know, it's one of those core memories carved into my head, and my ear was ringing, and it was like weird pressure. It was just super odd. And it didn't really go away. And anyway, to make a very long story short, I ended up being diagnosed with Meniere's disease, which is an inner ear condition where the fluid doesn't drain properly, or it doesn't equalize properly. And so it causes pressure in the inner ear. And what that pressure causes is vertigo. Not dizziness or balance, but like straight out fall down.
Yeah.
Can't do anything about it. Can't do anything to stop it. Vertigo. And so that started when they were in kindergarten. So that October of 2011. And really for the next 2 years, just trying to figure out how to manage that. There's no cure. And so I was like so confused. I was like, okay, God, you brought me these 2 little lives to take care of, and now I can't take care of them. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why you would give me these 2 babies and then debilitate me like this. Jonathan really had to step in, and like, looking back, I'm just so grateful. Like and even I have little ladies in the church that'll come to me and be like, he brought him to Awanas. He brought him to, you know, he never stopped I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't go to church. So for like a year, he still took them to church faithfully, and they saw their daddy taking them to church and doing those things. And so anyway, it ended up, I was, like I said, almost bedridden most days. I didn't drive for like a year. I didn't leave the house. But
it's miserable.
It was just awful. It was, if you've never had vertigo, you can't really even describe it to anybody. Like you can't even understand how bad it is. So, but again, it's part of the journey in God's grace that I got healing and I got well. But during that time, God met me every day. Like I had nothing to do but spend time with God.
Yeah.
He removed everything. He removed every distraction that I had in my life. And so I read my Bible from cover to cover, and I journaled, and I worshiped. And, you know, I think it's, is it Job 42:5? My ears had heard, I heard
Job
of you.
Something. Yeah.
Now my eyes have seen you.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like the veil was lifted, and I was like, oh, I have gotten real with God. And that was probably the key point in my life where I dove the deepest with God.
Yeah. I can't imagine. That's just, and not knowing, like, you know, you saying there's no cure, not knowing, you know, I mean, when were you like, I'm in remission or I'm better? Like when did you know? Was it gradual? Yeah.
It was gradual. So I had a surgery done that eliminates some of the pressure.
Yeah.
But I still had some residual effects after that.
Yeah.
So it was a very gradual progression out of it. And I still to this day have lingering things that go on.
Yeah.
That I'm not 100%, but I'm like, I'll take it. I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but it's also given me such a heart of compassion. Anytime I hear of anybody with any kind of inner ear condition or vertigo or dizziness, I'm like, I'm here for you. Like, I will talk to you. I will, if anybody's listening, like, I know, I get it. And it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. But I didn't think it was going to be okay.
You mentioned in your notes, like, it's very easy to look at someone else's story and be like, she was in remission. She's better. She can go to kid stuff. Of course, you're like, well, there's still lingering things, even if you don't say it and you're grateful, but you forget, like, there's this like background noise of anxiousness that, like, is that going to happen again? And you touched on that a little bit, and I won't put words to it, but I know that was a part of your story, leaving that season for you. And so how did you deal with that, and what did that look like for you?
So tell me a little bit more about that question.
So leaving that season of like, okay, I'm in remission, like, a lot of times we look at people's story and we're like cut and dry, like, she's in remission. Okay, on to the next thing. But like, you're still walking, like, when's the hat gonna drop? Like, thinking like, is this forever? And there can be a level of anxiousness, and you touched on that. And so, like, what did that look like for you walking forward?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was anything conscious.
Yeah.
It was just, I actually ended up going to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And that team of doctors there really worked with me to get me the therapy that I needed to get out of it.
Yeah.
But I think it was when I kind of got out of it, when the fog cleared enough to where I could, like, live life again.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new, like, it was like I had been blind and now I could see again, like going to church. I was like, oh, I'm all in.
Yeah.
These people have been able to go to church every Sunday for the last 2 years, and I haven't. And I'm going to worship like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be part of this like nobody else could be. And, sadly that has waned. But at the time it was like, well, I'm going to go all in on everything. I appreciated having to be at a baseball game and a little league and a this and a that, it was, none of it was a burden.
Yeah.
I was just so grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to do it. So I really didn't necessarily carry with me like a worry that it was it was more like just taking every little thing and hopefully not taking it for granted, which of course I've backslid now and I take everything for granted.
No, you don't. Oh my goodness. Okay. So life, you're jumping back in. Your kids are involved in school. Jonathan's working. You're working part-time at this point. I think your notes said. And then you said after taking a brief hiatus teaching the singles group at North Monroe, you returned back to teaching the same people who happen to be the greatest people ever. It was us. This me and Lindsay. And our husbands. And a few other people slipped in there. But you talk about this season, you're so grateful for health. You're so grateful to be at church and with things with the kids. But there was another narrative going on with you and Jonathan at this time, even though you're teaching and some things are back to normal. And so why do you think it was that was coming up now? Was it the busyness of life or?
So good. I don't really know. I don't really know what turned the switch for me to decide that I didn't like him, that I didn't like Jonathan, because we were back, we were engaged. I was well, I was working. Now that I'm saying this though, again, he has his own story. He was dealing with a lot of stuff work-wise that he never shared with me. And I think bearing that burden alone as a man and not having an outlet and not sharing it manifested itself in that I don't want to say he wasn't a likable person, but he wasn't a likable person.
Yeah.
I wasn't either. I'm not saying I was. Yeah. I thought, I went through it like as a holier than thou, like it was all him. He's just a grump. He's a grouch. Again, the context of my upbringing was like, we were going to be a goofball. We were going to laugh at ourselves.
Well, I can see too, like had you said like, okay, I'm all in, like you want to worship, you want to jump in, everything's a blessing. And then it's like, he's walking through his valley when you're trying to celebrate on the mountaintop. And it's like, we're not together.
Yeah.
Like probably feeling,
Yeah. The big key is, and again, he has his own story.
Yeah.
he didn't tell me he was in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Right.
And it just, I mean, that's when the bricks just piled on the wall, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went to church with the biggest smile, and just we're the perfect family, and everything's great.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I don't know if I was embarrassed or ashamed or didn't want to show that weakness, and wanted to exhibit that fierce independence. We were teaching young marrieds.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I won't put words in your mouth, but like I think sometimes think, hindsight again, similar personalities. Some of that is self-protection. It's a self-protection of, okay, I'm in control. And this thing over here feels out of control, but like I'm going to keep functioning and be in control of what I can be in control of. And so like, I think a lot of the, you put on a facade, you put on whatever, which like in our story, things were off from time to time, but like it wasn't, I don't think in my mind I thought like, oh, there's something major wrong. Like it was just, no, we're just having our typical whatever, which everybody has. So like, we're fine.
You think in the back of your mind, we'll get to this.
Yeah.
But we have to get to tomorrow first, like
right.
You've got stuff to do.
And like for someone, I would say with our personalities, like sometimes it's easier to push that over here because it's like, well, I don't actually have control over that, but I don't want to address that. Like, so I'm going to focus on what can I control and like, what can I do so that I feel okay, for the most part. I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Well, it makes me think of like the verses we just talked about recently in life group of like, do not let Satan get a foothold, because like how often do you like, you're like, I don't really know where the switch is, but I'm like, I get it, because like we're in the season where we both have kindergartners this year, right?
Yeah.
We both have kindergartners this year. What year is it? Okay. But and it's like you've got this tomorrow, and they have to wear these socks, and
there's
whatever.
a million things to think about.
It doesn't matter. Like yours is in school, mine's homeschooling, but you have things, and it doesn't matter what it is. It might be like, okay, I've been saying I'm going to go to counseling. I've been saying I'll work through this with my marriage. I've been saying I'm going to go back to school. Whatever that thing is, that's like that's on the back burner. We have to do the today things, and it's like, don't let the sun go down, like don't start a new day without prioritizing, not like anxiously fixing, but prioritizing.
Right.
This is a thing, Yep. And so I don't know.
Yeah. It is. It's easy to stuff. It's easy to ignore. It's easy to just forge ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did all of those things.
Especially when you're like a hyper independent human being and you're like, oh, well, I'm fine. I can do this.
Self-preservation. I'm like, these babies, they love me and they bring me joy. So me and the babies, we're going to go do our thing.
Yeah.
You can come too if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was like your belief during that time? Like, as far as you and Jonathan, like, if you can go back and travel back to like what Nicole was thinking, like what was your plan? What was your thoughts during that season?
You sound like my counselor.
I always told her she missed a calling.
What was your thought?
She missed a calling somewhere.
Time? How did you feel?
Do you want to hold buzzers or you miss?
What's up?
EMDR.
Yeah.
Tapping. That's hilarious.
Not to make fun of that, because I believe in that wholeheartedly.
No, but if we don't have humor,
yeah, you know me. I'm going to laugh about everything if I can. If it's humanly possible, I will make a joke out of it, to the point that it's awkward.
Same.
So at that point, I kind of was done. I was like, you're just not a happy person, and I obviously don't make you happy. And so I told him, I was like, hey, when the kids graduate, it's terrible because I went through this. I don't know why I would say this. When the kids graduate, I'm going to go ahead and leave. Like, I can't be with you. I can't live in this doom and gloom. I can't live in a place where we don't have fun or laugh, where I don't like you. And it was horrible. And I felt horrible, but at the same time, I was like, I just needed to let him know that, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, did y'all just like, okay, that's what's going to happen?
He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. And we tried Band-Aids. Like,
Yeah.
let's work on our communication. Not that these things are bad. I'm not
Right.
saying these things are bad. These things are good. But like, let's work on our communication. Let's have a date night. And that's all great. And those are great practices and great habits. Very much so. But like, if that's all you're doing,
wasn't the root of the issue.
It wasn't the root of the issue
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the root of the issue was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the hardest part.
Yeah. I was just like, I just don't like you. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I heard about a counselor. Can I say her name? Should I say her name?
I'll say I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Because I don't want her phone to blow up. Like, I'm always scared. I tell everybody about her, and she takes very limited patients. So her name's Kathy.
Yeah.
And I actually, part of the story is like, I joined the staff at North Monroe. So I'm on staff at North Monroe.
Yeah.
So even more, like I'm working at the church and I don't like my husband, but nobody knew, But I did confide in a couple people and they were like, Kathy is the best. Like, go see Kathy. She can fix anything.
And what a kindness not to just like normalize it. Like for friends to say like, do this thing, go do this thing. Like how often does someone tell us that? And we're like, I don't think I need it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but like that you had friends that were willing to say it. 'Cause that's a hard thing to say. And a lot of people don't want to hear it, and for you to go do.
Yeah. I'm so fortunate. I have 3 of the best friends in the entire world. And it's just, they will love and laugh and hold me accountable.
Yeah.
And it's really wonderful. And everybody needs that.
Yeah.
To journey through life with. But yeah, they did. They were like, go see Kathy. So I ran into Kathy in the hallway and I was like, hey, my marriage is in bad shape. Like someone told me I need to come see you. And she's like, I don't have an opening. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't take many patients. And I was like, well, if you ever have time, like, I'd love to. And I didn't know her. We had never met before.
Right.
Just this random person talking to her in the hallway.
Yeah.
A year later, she called me. Like, I'm like, you remembered?
Yeah.
Like, but it was all, of course, God's timing.
Yeah.
And like, I had written it off. Like, counseling wasn't even in my mind anymore, but she remembered. And she reached out and we went to counseling, Jonathan and I did, and we went to, she does EMDR. I can't really explain it. Hopefully people listening know what it is.
All I can explain is that it uses like bilateral stimulation.
Yes.
So like both sides, it employs both sides of your brain. So like you can't suppress, repress, all those press words, things. And like basically it can help you with relationships, but it can also just help you with trauma.
Yes.
Like that's the main thing. And so like a great way that like I've heard people say is like it can take a level 10 memory to like a 2 or a 3, like something that you can look at to deal with, and like you might not think that those traumatic things are affecting relationships, but they are,
Well, and that was very much each of our experiences with EMDR is like Kathy took us both back to like the very first trauma that we could remember as young. And we went individually for a year and a half. And you unpack. And one of the things, the key kind of explanations I give with EMDR is everything that you said, but also like a memory that I hold regarding an event that happened is negative. And with EMDR, it's not that you change it from being negative to positive, but it doesn't evoke these negative like reactions when you think about it. Like, and I guess that's that
like neutralizes your emotional response, maybe not in a, I don't know, that might not be the right way to say it, but like you can deal with it now. Yeah.
Yes. It's almost like, yes, I agree with all of that. And so that's basically what we did. Like individually, we just unpacked and released the trauma, and because it builds and builds and builds. And so it's a very draining process to go through. It takes a lot of commitment. And, but I mean, it was literally life-changing for both of us. It was just, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
It changed everything. And it humbled me, and it gave me such an appreciation for Jonathan and his journey and where he had been. And that, along with a book by Gary Thomas called Sacred Marriage.
Yeah.
I think you all have both.
I have not read it, but I have heard, I guess you talk about it a few times. I need to read it.
It's so good.
I'm trying to think. I might have it. I don't know that I've read it though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The subtitle is something along the lines of, what if God designed marriage to make you wholly not happy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so many times we're just looking for marriage to fulfill or other people. It doesn't have to be your spouse, but to bring you happiness.
Yeah.
But it's really to make you more like Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the principles in that book were so humbling for me, because I always was like, I'm the spiritually strong one. I'm the one that's walking with the Lord. I'm the one I mean, I just was knocked way down off of my pedestal to be like, it's me. I'm the problem. It is me. You know, it was both of us. But the counseling with the principles that and I had that book for years. And I was like, I ain't reading that book. I don't need that book.
Mm-hmm.
Again, though, God had me pick up that book at some point, and I finally read it, and I give it to everybody I know that is like even remotely struggling. To say like,
well, not to backtrack you, but I mean, one of the traumas that you probably had to unpack was we didn't go into your mom.
Oh yeah.
You know, and like, I'd love for you to talk about that, because I know like that grieving behind your wall, you know, was probably really heavy.
Yeah. See, I even blocked it out. Even today, sitting here.
We don't let anything
go.
Gosh,
thanks, Callie. The notes. Don't send notes. Yeah. So in 2016, it was March 13th. It was a Sunday, and my mom, we went to church together, and it was when we were in the East.
Yeah.
We were worshiping together that morning, and Bill was preaching and all the good things. And this part is even so hard for me to say. I don't say it much, but that morning she told me, she was like, I'm not trying to scare you, because there was a lot going on. She's like, but my left arm just feels funny. You know, and she was like, but I'm going to get my esophagus checked again this week. And so I don't know, you know, and I was like, okay. She's like, I'm going to buy a washing machine. I'm going to Home Depot after church. Sorry.
Oh,
to some big box store.
Oh, it's fine.
Gonna get a washing machine and all this stuff. And so like she and I talked that afternoon, as we did, even though we had just seen each other, because we talked multiple times a day. And like she had her little bag packed to go to work the next day. Like she was still working, and I couldn't get a hold of her that evening, which was really, really strange. And a neighbor had a key, and I asked the neighbor to go just see if she could try and get a hold of Mom. And she called me, and she was like, she's gone. And it was just like, I don't cry. So I don't want people to think that I'm being terrible, but I'm just not a crier. But it was awful. It was just the worst, because she was everything, especially going through a hard time in my marriage. Like she was my buddy. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And so like I knew when like she'd be like, my teeth have been hurting. They're a little sore. So I changed toothpaste, you know? And when they're gone, like you don't know. Yeah. I was like, what is she doing? What is she doing? Yeah. So I read a book on heaven, because that was super important to me at that point. You know, I was like, I want to know what she's doing, what she's up to. And, you know, it made me have a different perspective on that, you know, the day because before I would always be like, oh, heaven's just going to be amazing. I don't need to know about it. Like I'm going to be with Jesus. Yeah. But when I lost her, I was like, I really want to know, like I want to know more about it. And so I dug in a little bit, but it was just, it's hard to describe when you lose someone suddenly. Just, there were just questions I never got to ask. And, but the blessing of it was, you know, going over to her house that night, like her Bible and prayer journal. And we were going through Daring Faith. Yeah. At the church, her Daring Faith little workbook were on the table with all of her writing in it. And so, you know, had she aged, she would have gotten rid of that stuff as she aged, you know? Yeah. So for me to have her current prayer journal, and even to this day, I'll go through it, and she'll have people she was praying for, and I'll text them a picture of it, you know, and it's special for them to be like, oh, I have that, you know, or at one point she had gotten into this habit of writing these little notes on notepads. Thank you for my daughter. thank you for sunshine. Thank you for the weather. And there's one I found the other day. It said, thank you that we found Lydia's boots. So Lydia must have lost her boots. I don't know if it was Boots or if it was Boots the monkey from Dora.
Oh, yeah.
Because Lydia was really into Boots from Dora.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, but like my mom, like she wrote thank you notes that we found something that had been missing that was really not important.
Yeah. But it was to Lydia at that point. Lydia. And so it was important to her.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah. She just lived life in the most generous and amazing way. And so, but I have to be, it'll be 10 years this March. And I just have to be thankful for the fact that she's not aging. I'm not having to put her in a home. I'm not having to watch her, she was getting ready to go to work the next day. She just bought a washing machine. I had to call them and be like, don't deliver it.
Well, and like, I get to see you be the safe open arms to your kids now. And so like her legacy lives on, and like you're in the season that you've talked about and like you have that from her, which is so cool.
She just set such an example in life and in death, I think,
where are you on the Nicole timeline right now? That's my last question, because we've looked at your story and how like you had these goals, you had this wall, and the Lord broke that down brick by brick, and like graciously, but also in hard ways, and like going through those hardships and going through this seasons of I'm so grateful that you've restored this or double the blessing. And, then to have you and Jonathan restored, like after losing your mom, like what, like you have this fresh hope and this new support. Now the kids are in college. So like, what does it look like now for Nicole's timeline? And like, what's the purpose that you're living in now?
Yeah, that's so good. And it's kind of fun because it's sort of an open book right now. It's just like, I'm good. Like, I feel like I've done all the things, not like I'm ready to go or anything, but it's just, it's a scary time of life raising adult children, but it's also super satisfying. And it's wonderful to be able to say like, Jonathan and I are enjoying the empty nest, and like, if I was on my timeline, I would be leaving. I would be writing up, seeing a lawyer right now. And that's not happening, and we still haven't gotten into the groove of what empty nest looks like. But
as soon as you do, they bring grandkids,
like
it's like,
I'm like, I was kind of born to be a grandmother. I don't want any teenage pregnancies. Make sure that gets out there. But, I won't be scared of my own grandbabies. Like, I wasn't scared of my own babies. And like, I feel like I'm a super fun person, and like, like the grandbabies are good.
Might break your foot playing basketball.
I might. That will be me. That will be me. And so, I just like, I'm really looking forward to that season. Jonathan and I are good. And it's been so liberating because we walked around for so many years behind a facade and not being authentic. Like now I just feel so liberated. I'm like, oh, now I can tell you all the terrible things. Because I finally let that down and allow myself to be vulnerable. I mean, share a hard story and love others through what they're going through, and so it's really liberating because I feel like I can just kind of be myself, and if I'm struggling, I can let you know. And we've recently started teaching again.
Yes.
So we had this group of college students that we taught, and then we left and came back, and they were in their singles phase, and so we were like, okay, well, we'll teach you now, and this is single. And then we left and came back, and they were young marrieds, and now we're back.
Here we are.
I know. It's just like,
well, it's like, obviously, like, we did not pick up on the fact that you felt like you were living behind a facade, and like, yes, maybe parts of it were, but like, the Lord was still using y'all, like, like you were still doing worthy work, even if it feels like in your mind it was discounted because of this other reason. Like, we all have things we can work through all the time, like that's wasn't the case for us. But like, now that we're in the season we're in, like every Sunday you're like, I don't know, does anybody else struggle with this? And like, it's just, I think like the way you're able to facilitate, I can see in your story why you're able to do that so well, but also like as someone sitting in the class, like it's so nice and refreshing and so needed, because we're in those busy years where like we could just pass the weeks and not stop to talk about this, or what are our intentions? Have we set goals ever? Just kidding. I
think you set goals for 2026.
I wrote a book. I just
I was about to say,
and we built a house. We've done some things.
You have done some things.
But all that to say, like, it's such like, through the things that I know are so hard and painful, like the Lord has gifted us to receive, like y'all being like, we are not going to spend another day living behind a facade or not addressing these things or letting the sun go down. Like, where are y'all on this? Let's talk about some real things. Let's talk about real parenting. Let's talk about real marriage. Like, it's such a gift, and like we get to benefit from it. But I know there's a lot more people who do in your work and Jonathan's work. I mean, neighbors, and it's just neat.
It is. Well, and it's refreshing, especially like when you have walked through some hard things and you also are in a place now of like, I'm not going to pretend, like personality wise, like I'm not going to pretend like we've got this all figured out or like we're all okay over here. Like, it's just refreshing and it's encouraging to like be able to sit in a room and be like, yeah, that wasn't fun, or this is hard, or this is still hard, or this, like, I don't know. It's just, because we all, I mean, not that everyone has to be an open book all the time with every little thing, but like we all have things, and we all have things that we struggle with. And, I like we've said it before, like where you've kind of created that safe space for your kids, but like I think in general, like that just makes you like a safe person, like that it's like, hey, I don't have to put on a show to be around or to show up to life group, I don't know.
Hotness is welcome.
It's
like hotness is welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Thank you.
Let me say this before we wrap up. I think this is true in all of our lives. I have a friend, and this isn't you, but I have another friend, and she just wrote a book. She walked in the LGBTQ world for like 30 years.
Remember you telling us about that in the life group class? Yeah.
Yes. And just like she doesn't even point this out in the book, but as I read the book, I realized people that God put in her life all along, and the fact that those people were there, and like that was God showing up and pursuing her that whole time, and I'm like, LGBTQ or not, like that's all of us, and looking back, just having to think through my story and things like, God never left, he never turned his back, he always pursued. It was in different ways, and it showed up differently, but I think that's all of our stories.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so thankful for that. Yeah. That he's a father that wants the best for us.
Yeah. So good.
Doesn't want to let us go, and
has good things.
Wants us to work through our I will nevers.
Right. So true. Thank you so much for coming. I know that like you are an open book, but we were talking about before, like it is just such a personal thing to share your stories and the parts that like, we'd like to leave out sometimes. And so we just really appreciate you coming today in your schedule, but also like being willing to go into all that.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I love y'all. I feel like I'm your mommy. Like all the people in my class. It's like, thank you, God, for all these awesome girls.
Oh, thank you. We're so grateful for y'all. Yes. So nice. Yeah. Well,
it's the same. It's totally the same. Like we walk out of there and we're like,
well, that's because we've got our facade, No,
right. No, that's what I love about that class. It's like everybody is a hot mess, and it's okay. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, we've been through too much in the last several years to even try. Yeah,
it's so good though. But I mean, that's what makes the community. That's what makes like
Mm-hmm.
You know, the
Yes.
body of believers, we all have a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, it was so good and so
It
helpful.
was.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank y'all so much for listening in this week. I know it was such a blessing to you as it was to us. And we will see you next week on The Salt Works.
This is my story. This is your story.